Because I've seen the vision of the other prophets, I can completely explain why each prophet said what they said about when the world would end and how they made their predictions and all those things. Because when each of them had experienced that feeling of oneness as the individual they were, their mind would basically latch on to a time vehicle piece of spirit that saw an ending, that seemed the most logical and reasonable. And I tried to explain it before by saying, like, you can see the past lives and you can see those things, and you can see the future by, it's almost like tuning into the strongest signal when it comes to an instinctual, non-time explanation of a past event or future event. I mean, these things are hard to put into words, but as those prophets and those individuals who saw those things of a future ending, I mean, not all of them are the same story. In fact, a lot of them are different because I've seen them. In the books and all the things they study, they try to compare them and make them all seem the same. And then they're like, a fiery sword? Well, instead of a fiery sword, what they meant is a satellite. You know what? Instead of this thing, what they really meant was that 911. And then, when they said this, what they really meant was the Holocaust. And they're looking for things to compare it to, so that what they believe in is true. The problem is that everybody who wrote one of these things, they believed it. So if you believe it, it will come true in your world. That is really what's happening on every prophet ever written. Let's write a new prediction of the future and say that we understand it, and we start learning how to see it work in front of us. And once we do that, we don't have to worry about trying to understand it. We will understand it. Because if people would stop being so stubborn and listen to the ones who are understanding what's happening and how you use energy and how the world is actually a representation of what we're doing, because we're a outcome of a time vehicle producing us as part of the explanation of itself. And we can do whatever we want in the meantime. We could end. Yes, one day this planet will end. This project planet will end. But it doesn't have to be the way we all think it would be. We could actually get off it and go to another one before it goes. But this would be in the future, and we would see that this world itself, because of what we've done now, we couldn't hold it together long enough. But we could prolong it for hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years, even centuries, and even millenniums. But the thing is, that doesn't make any sense to us, because we live in a time where we live a second at a time. And we're going to keep it that way because we want to experience things like that. But some of us will be able to jump through time like you wouldn't believe. And we'll be doing it in ways you wouldn't imagine, because we'll be still here. Whatever time frame we're in, we'll be basically going to places and taking 2 or 3 hours to live a whole life experience and come back. It's really amazing, and I know it will happen in the future. But we have to focus on those things for fun reasons, not those things for horrible whatever. Like, we can experience those things in a creative way, through movies, through experiences, through basically astral trips. But we don't have to experience those things through physically doing them to each other anymore. And if we stop doing that, and if governments would really understand that they have the chance to really be heroes to all the people, they could lift the whole money situation. They could stop worrying about having more than everybody else, and a nice car and a nice whatever, because eventually, if it keeps going this way, the people have so much resentment for each other. The ideas of the people who resent each other, and how some people just don't value anything, will cause the world itself, nature itself, to reset, because it wants to start over. If each person thinks, man, I just wish I could do this all over, life is so frustrating. If every person alive thought that way, including the kids are starting to feel that way. They don't say it. They don't know exactly how to say it. But they almost feel like, I wish I could do this all over again. Like, this is so pointless. It used to be something, and now it's just, what are we going to do next? Like, there's really nothing to do. Like, nothing that doesn't seem old. So, because of that mentality, if the world itself goes that way, nature itself will let that happen, because it wants a world of love and happiness, not a world of depression and people thinking it's falling apart. Because when they think it falls apart, it falls apart. Guess what? It's not falling apart at all. It's just reconstructing itself according to the way we think as a whole world. And that's too hard for people to understand, because in a way, someday, we have to come into some kind of mutual agreement to realize that we are in control of what goes on with the environment and stop tearing it apart, start giving back. All those kind of simple things that we should have been doing all along will be the way to save the world. Not anything else. No magic tricks, no nothing like that. Nothing but just love and compassion and doing the right thing. And we will do it someday. Whether it's us or our ancestors or descendants, whatever. It will happen. It's happening right now, one way or the other. Nature will make it happen, whether it has to clear away human beings this time and start over again, or we can do it ourselves and actually become smart. We think we're smart. We're not doing very many smart things. And when we start doing that, we really, really thrive.